No. Wow. Did any of you pull the red eye and come back just for spring ball?
Just for you. No, I don't think
Now
Angelique
that would have really been.
Angelique did.
I did not.
That's a tough red eye there, though. Yeah. It's funny, too.
But you'd be worth it. You'd totally be worth it. Come for this.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Let's just see where this goes. Let's just see how much I let out.
Well,
You're backing me in the corner.
are you worth talking to, or do you
We're
feel
ready.
good
Let's
about
go.
this, about the spring ball? You feel good about where this line is?
Oh, I feel great about my group. When you have 4 returning starters that played very solid football last year, and they're such good people and they want to get better. So we laid out to them the first day they got back here, they had a little paragraph about what we wanted them to do for my guys on a physical level, like how to get better as a player, and then how to get better, your body better. Like what could the strength coaches and the nutritionists do with these people to improve them? So either do this, better flexibility, better lower body strength, more upper body strength, better this, better, all these things. So we had a real good plan for each guy. We wrote it up, and they worked on it tremendously hard, and they care. So I see a lot of improvement in a pretty good group right now.
Considering that last year they were more talking about how they didn't want to be embarrassing anymore. How much further along have they gotten, considering especially the season that they did have?
Oh, they're at a whole different place now. Now it's a whole different conversation. Now we're trying to take them to the next level, which is, winning conference championships, and playing at a championship level in all the games, So, and each guy playing at a level that they could be better. If you were second team all conference, what do I got to do to be first team all conference? If I was first team all conference, what do I got to do to be an All-American? If I was honorable mention, how do I get to second team or first team all conference? So that's the objective, is for everybody to take a step, and they're very into that. They're very in tune to that, and 3 of them, this is their last year. So, they're really focused, as most last year guys are, on how do I play my best football my last year at Michigan.
How much of a different guy is John Runyon this year compared to maybe this time last year?
Well, he's different in that he's confident. He's different in that he's a better communicator because he's confident. People don't communicate when they're not confident. You know what I mean? Nobody that doesn't know what they're supposed to say doesn't stand up and talk. They don't say anything. So he's confident, he's communicating, he's been able to evaluate himself on tape, and we had a couple of things we wanted him to work on, but he's at a whole different place, than where he was a year ago at this time, because he had never started. Now we're expecting him to be one of the best players we have.
With Jawan gone, any update on the battle at right tackle?
Well, that's been fun to watch, and it's ongoing. I don't think it'll be resolved in the near future, but it doesn't need to be. Andrew Stuber started the last couple of games for us of the season last year, and he was solid. And we have Jalen Mayfield, who didn't lose his red shirt, but played a little bit throughout the season, and we saw a lot of bright things in him. So we've had 6 practices, and 3 of those practices, Andrew's been the first team right tackle, and 3 of those practices, Jalen's been the first team right tackle. So I would say the reps are pretty even. And eventually, it'll separate itself by virtue of somebody will be more consistent. Both have very redeeming qualities, so we'll see where it goes. But it's fun to watch because competition brings out the best in everybody. Not that there's not competition at some of the other positions, but that tends to be the one that's most focused on. But time will tell. Time will tell, but they're not the same guy, so they're not like working on the same thing. They're different. So, which one can perform the best and most consistent, And that may be a very close call. I mean, that may go to the middle of August, I mean, it may be decided sooner. But you just never know. I mean, time tells. I mean, they control that, really.
How much do you weigh that Andrew has started 2 games, compared to Jalen? He's played more. I mean, is that factored in when you make a decision, or is it just
a little bit? A little bit. But some of that was because we didn't want to lose Jalen's year. I mean, that was by default. We kept Jalen out of a couple of games to save the year. If we would have, maybe that we might have played it out different. Because I want to be coaching Jalen 4 years from now. I know that. You know what I mean? And so that's part of it. But yeah, we have some good video on Andrew, and he earned the right to start in those games. And even though we didn't win either game, you couldn't go back and say he was a major reason why we didn't. He held his own and did his job. But I mean, it's good to have a test in those big games, you know, of what someone can do. But you go against our defense every day. I mean, the slate is clean. What can you do against them? If you can perform against them, then you can perform against most any team we play. So once again, I mean, Andrew got the start the first day. So the first day he was the starter. Second day, Jalen was. So Sunday when we practice, Andrew will be the starter.
What was it? I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
What was the number one thing that Jalen, had to work on as a freshman last year? Where did he develop?
Well, I mean, you got to remember when he committed to Michigan, he weighed about 255.
Yeah.
And then he started adding weight and getting stronger. But to get to the point where you're 315 pounds like Runyon and Stuber and as strong as they are, just doesn't happen as fast. So he needed to develop size, strength. High school techniques are different than college. High school players are different. So how to use, how to get used to the new body, how to get used to the new size. Because I think last year, I mean, he's 307 right now. Last year, I think he was at 287. I mean, I don't know if there was many tackles starting in the Big Ten at 287 that were freshmen, that were true freshmen. So I think allowing him to develop the size and strength that you need to be competitive on a consistent basis. But we saw tremendous signs of him growing all throughout the year. So we're just letting it. There's no sense putting a guy out there and then having him not ready because, he just hasn't physically gotten there yet. So just let it take its time with him. We just took our time with him, and he's in a good place right now. He's in a good place. I'd rather bring him along slow than throw him in there too soon, and then they get shell-shocked, and then they're like overwhelmed, and then they lose their mojo, because confidence is the number one thing. Everybody we got's talented, but honestly, the guys who believe in themselves, believe in their techniques, trust what they know, trust their training, and go play the hardest are the ones who play the best. And it doesn't mean that they're the most talented. Usually it's just experience is what some people call it. I call it confidence, because sometimes it isn't experience. It's just confident in how to do your job.
Cesar was talked about a lot last year as sort of being a quarterback for the offensive line despite his age, kind of an underclassman. Mm-hmm. What did you want to see from him in the offseason, and have you seen him make those strides so far?
Yeah, he is a quarterback for us. The things that he does are amazing in terms of his communication of how we run our offense. A lot of teams have their quarterback do that. We take a lot of load off our quarterback and have him do it. He's very good at that. So he is a underclass quarterback now. He's not anymore. I wanted to see him work on, pulling in space. I wanted to see him get better at that. I could tell he's better at that. He got leaner. We asked him to lose some weight and get a little leaner. He has. And then work on his pass protection. And then within his pass protection, just some footwork things I want him to get better at, and hand placement things. So all of those he has definitely worked on and is better at.
And it was talked about the offense being faster, obviously huddling less. How does that impact the offensive line, or does it impact the offensive line?
Well, it can. The one way it impacts the offensive line is we may run 75 plays a game instead of 55. So that's 20 more plays a game. So within that, though, every play they get to save running 14 yards, because 7 yards huddle back and 7 yards back up. So that's 14 yards. So I said the trade-off is we're going to run 20 more plays, but of those 75 plays, you've got 14 less yards you got to go. So it made sense to him. I really don't know if mathematically, that's accurate, but sounded good. But that's what I've always said. I mean, last year was the first time I was part of an offense in the last 14 years that huddled. So, I mean, I've been no huddle offensively since 2003, except for last year we huddled. So we're back to what I was at all my other stops, no huddle. So I get it. I get the no huddle. I get the whole component. I'm very comfortable in this offense, very comfortable in all the schemes that we're doing. A lot of them are the same. There's just different pieces to it. some different formations and all that. But I think the linemen have adjusted well, you know. The biggest thing in the huddle is that you teach them, you know, things that to listen for in the huddle that give them clues as to what might happen by, you know, formations and motions and all that. Now they have to get that from signaling, you know what I mean?
How has Onwenu distinguished himself in the offseason?
Well, Big Mike has slimmed down. He's leaner. He's quicker. Oh my gosh, is he moving? He is moving so well. It's just playing better with his hands, understanding little details, practicing better. It all starts with like his attention to detail, and in meetings. I mean, he's improved in every area. But his off season was great because he really trained hard. He really had great workouts. He's leaner.
How much weight has he lost?
I don't know if there's an exact number, but he's definitely, I think there's 15 pounds. At one point, maybe there's 20. But the body composition, I mean, just because he weighs a lot, I mean, his muscle mass and density is as good as anybody's on the team. It's just, he's a big human. So within that, you know, then everybody puts a weight on it, so.
What did his paragraph say coming in? I mean, did you give that to him before winter conditioning or before spring ball?
No, like July 9th, or January 9th,
Okay,
excuse
so
me.
after the
January
bowl game.
9th or 10th, yeah, like the first day they came back from the bowl game to school. We had school like on a Monday, and I think we had a team meeting, and I think that we gave it to him then.
And was that something you had said to him in that you needed
Yeah,
to get a
I mean,
little leaner? And-
you know, just some of that was how to get leaner, how to train harder, how to be in better condition to run it, because if he can play it at the highest level of intensity, wow, is he talented. I mean, his ceiling is so high. And now he's getting some details with that. So it's not just I get tired now, I don't use any details. He doesn't get tired. He practices harder, plays faster, and the details are really, they're clicking for him. Yeah, when the things that we need him to do, like use his hands better, a good first step, play with good pad level. If he plays with good pad level, has a good first step, and uses his hands, he's unstoppable. I mean, he really can do whatever he wants. It's amazing. Just got to consistently do that.
On Harbaugh's podcast this week, you said that Ryan Hayes had taken one of the biggest steps forward from last year to this year.
Yeah, I'm really proud of Ryan. Yeah, we did say that on the podcast, and I meant it. Think about Ryan. He came here as a tight end. He played tight end, defensive end. All of a sudden, he walks in a room with me and the offensive line, like, whoa. He's like, whoa. And you know, we don't cut anybody any slack in there. I mean, we work. We have details. We have high demands, and all of that. He just worked through that process, and now he understands the O-line. He understands the techniques. And he's gotten bigger and stronger. I mean, I think he weighed 260 when he got here. Now he's in the 90s, 290s. So now when he does what he wants you to do, what you want him to do exactly the way you want, you can see results. At 260, he can do exactly what you want. There's no results. He's not moving anybody. You know what I mean? Too big and too strong opponents. Now you could see those results. And in long wingspan, so his pass protection has been really solid. And he's improved in the run game because he's stronger, and he's just playing with better football fundamentals, base, footwork, hand placement. So his growth has been tremendous. But you knew it would, because there's a lot of potential there, and then just the transition from thinking like a tight end, and then all of a sudden all these little details, all the line stuff, this lingo, this language we have, this, you know, intensity, you know, all that. It's different, you know. So he's made a huge change, you know, because he's easily in our 2 deep right now, you know. So, and I'm proud of him for that, you know, because it wasn't easy. It's not easy for anybody, but he made that crossover in 1 year, and he's headed in the right direction.
How's the rest of the 2 deep looking right now?
It looks good. Yeah, I mean, the 2 deep right now would, you know, be you have that battle at right tackle, and then we have Joel Honiford and Andrew Vastardis battling at right guard. And Joel's improved a lot. I mean, he's had some injuries and some illnesses that had set him back. You know, last year he had mono for most of spring and had an ankle in the fall, and I don't know. I think some other things. Vastardis. you know, earned scholarship, and he's rotating in there. Spinellis is at center, a backup center, and he's real solid. Chuck's the backup left guard. Chuck's doing a great job there. And then Hayes is the backup left tackle. So that's our two deep right now, and that's a solid two deep, and we're moving the ball with both groups, so I feel good about that. Go ahead.
Sorry, you know this personnel really well after a year with this team. Is it the right fit with Gaddis's offense? Do you think that the personnel matches what he's bringing in?
In terms of my guys or the whole offense?
Whole offense, and your guys obviously specifically.
Oh, I think so. Yeah, I think so. Like, because we have a lot of good pieces. We have a lot of good skill pieces. We have the O-linemen. We're doing the same things, just the formations are different. A little bit different in the huddling and stuff like that, and not under center. But we're doing a lot of the same things. But then you have we have multiple receivers that have some, what you would call high potential. We have a quarterback who played in a spread offense, and I mean, it's tailor-made for his skill set. Dylan's learning it, and he's doing a good job. Joe Milton's learning it. But they have skill sets that match this. The tight ends and running backs, So I think we're great. I don't think there's anything that we're missing that you need to be speed and space, spread offense, no huddle. I don't think, like, hey, we got to go recruit some of these. I don't think we're missing anything, So I feel like we just got to get good at this. The thing about spring is when you do some new things, you got to find out what's Shea best at in this offense, and then we'll focus on that. What's our tailbacks best at? What are our tight ends best at? We knew what they were really good at in the last system. This is different. What are they good at? But that's what spring's for. So not every day is just running what they're good at, pushing the envelope to try some new things to see if we can get good at other pieces to this offense, Because, like you said, I've been in it with 4 head coaches and different offensive coordinators, and I've been the offensive coordinator at 2 places running this offense. So there's not much of it that I haven't been around, and Gaddis has been in some different offenses that have been doing this, so he has perspective from the different places he's been, Penn State, Vanderbilt, Alabama. Ben McDaniels, same thing. So Ben's doing a good job with the quarterbacks, he's a football guy, smart guy. He has a nice person to call on the phone every once in a while to talk about quarterback play, that he can bounce ideas off. But he knows what he's doing. It's not like he needs to do that very often, but that's good, Sharon coached in a spread offense at Central before he came here and at Louisville, so it's not foreign to him. So I think we're in good shape, staff's working well together. Everybody, it's been a good deal. It's going in the right direction. Yeah. So I'm real pleased with that. So.
We have time for 1 or 2 more. Angelique, looks like you're
I
anxious.
was just curious, you're talking about the play call coming in, obviously without the huddle. So Shea's obviously getting the play call. How
They
does that
signal
work?
they signal the plays in.
So the offensive line, so Cesar would be reading it as well, or Shea's?
Everybody looks at the signals.
Okay.
Yeah, everybody on the field is looking at the signals, getting the signals.
All right.
And then there's a lot of
It's
people
not
signaling.
just Cesar looking, everybody's.
No.
Okay.
They're all. But there's a lot of people signaling. There's a lot of stuff going on. Some people are decoys. Some people
Decoys,
are
right.
real. There's the whole gamut. You can just look at other teams that do it and see how it.
Right.
So it'll beat so no one can figure out who's doing it. But it's good. It's just a way to run a play every 10 seconds faster if you can or whatever. We're not trying to go like 2-minute offense. We're not trying to do that, but just not trying to snap the ball with 3 seconds to go every play, And not that we tried to do that last year, but just when you huddle, and then you run up to the line and you get all set, you're just trying to give yourself a little more time to run these plays. And then when you do go 2-minute and you do want to go fast and you change the speeds, your system's already in place to do that. So going to 2-minute offense and hurrying up is just doing it faster, not like a whole new system. So I think the linemen have liked it. I think they enjoy it, you know, making up the signals. We got all kinds of signals going on, you know, so. Anything else? Any?
I was just curious. Okay.
Yeah, no.
No.
Brett, you know, it's good. I mean, it's a signaled in system, and so everybody, so yeah, I mean, so I don't want to have one guy just know the signals and everybody else. What if he, you know, breaks his shoelace, as I say? Has to come out, then, you know, so they all know. They all know, and then they talk, and what they have now is they have the play faster than before. In the huddle, they got it, ran up to the line, and that's all they had. Now they have it, and they're actually waiting for the skill guys to figure out and get lined up and do all their business. So they have a lot longer at the line of scrimmage to know and think about what they're doing, which is actually another advantage I try to sell them on. Saved you 14 yards, and you get to play faster so you can think about it more. And honestly, it's both are true. It's just, you know, trying to be a little facetious with them.
Did you feel generally last year it took too long to get into play sometimes?
No, I don't think that. I think this is just, because it could take just as long. It's just, I mean, it all depends on when the person who's spitting out the call gets the call in, you know? Because, you know, last year was a wristband system. So, you know, you had to find the play on the wristband you want to call, then call the play on the wristband you want to call, then signal in wristband 72, and then he has to find wristband 72. And sometimes that goes really smooth, and sometimes, like anything, you know, like you're looking right at it and you can't see it. You know what I mean? Same with the signal. Sometimes you look at the signal and you're like, what is that? So you give me that again and you get the signal again, you know? So, but I don't think we had many delay game penalties last year, you know? I mean, but, so I think our operation was fine. I think our operation will be great, you know, this year. I think it'll be great.
What makes a good decoy?
What's that?
What makes a good decoy on the sidelines, you know, when you got the
Oh, no,
decoys?
just that which guy's signaling, you know?
Yeah, you just, but is it, anybody sells it better than others?
Well, yeah, I mean, if you're signaling over there like this, like,
That doesn't work.
yeah, or if you're signaling like,
But that could be like
right.
they could be throwing them off too.
Well, you know, it's like baseball. We got the signal.
You're like my third base coach.
The third base coach is down there like this, like,
There's always the indicator.
yeah, you know, so, yeah. So but you'll see the guys, they're on a full body sweat at practice. Because, you know, things always go faster in practice than they do in games. Games have tempo control, timeouts, change of possessions, all that. In practice, this is like, as soon as the ones go, twos, there's 20 seconds and then the twos are up, not 2-minute timeout break, you know? So, yeah, it's just constant. So we get more plays run at practice. Right now, we're getting more plays run, so our third group is getting more reps than ever. I think they would say they love it, the third group, because in the first 6 practices, our third group of linemen has gotten more reps probably in 6 practices than they got all 15 last year. So if it keeps going like that, I think they're going to be the guys who garner the most from it. So like a young, red-shirted freshman guy, or, you know, can develop and show us, oh, wow, I didn't know he could do that. You know, he's showing, you know what I mean? And all of a sudden he gets a look, and then look out, right? Because that's all everybody wants is a chance. And so you get more opportunities. So I know our third group is relishing that. They look good. I'm proud of those guys. Yeah. Anything else?
Nope. I think
All
we're
right.
good. We're gonna move Nick in since he's waiting.
We'll see you at the next open practice, whenever that is, right?
Saturday.
Coach Moore, you can talk to him over the side.
April 6th, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
April 6th in the big house, right? We got practice, and then the next week is the spring game. So I'll see you on the 6th.
Ed after practice too next week?
Hey,
Right?
you heard it.
I don't know, maybe.
Thanks. Appreciate you guys.
It was really worth the red eye. It was definitely worth the red eye.
No, you guys are the best. Appreciate it.